Okay, so I'm all better. Let's talk toys. Why not? uh, that's what I kind of do. I'm supposed to be doing. So, like, I've been saying a million times, I've had a lot of videos that I've wanted to do and connect with everybody. Um, I decided that I wanted to talk about a certain figure that's has its issues. Um, it's this fellow over here, Mr. MP-05. Yeah, is it MP-5? Yeah, it's MP-5. Shows you how retarded I am. MP-5 Megatron. This thing's gorgeous. Just look at it. It's huge. And if I'm not mistaken, the reason why it's so big is they scaled it to the MP1. And this is actually the same, kind of close to the same size, because if you got the 25th anniversary Optimus, he's just huge, and he scales with this guy. So now everybody's screaming they want a scaled one to the MP10. Got him at the New Jersey Collectors Con, believe it or not, for $150. The reason why I only paid $150 was because, well, let's do a little bit of background story about this thing. So I was walking around the entire convention that day. My arm just keeps wanting to go this way. I was walking around the convention like I always do, when I go to it. And everybody seemed to have wanted anywhere from, I think it was 225 all the way, it was 225 sealed in box, and the lowest I could find it for was 190. And the only downside, this box was, I would say, a grade B minus. The box is a little dinged up. Not too bad though. There's like one real bad ding on the back. It was like somebody put something through it, or it dropped and it hit a corner of maybe, a table or something and ripped kind of into it, but didn't rip all the way into it. It's missing its instructions. The card it does have, but the instructions are missing, which I'm still trying to locate. eBay had them on there, and ever since that ended, nothing. I haven't found no MP-5 instructions, so boo-hoo, tear. But this figure, really nice. And I walked around, and I wasn't planning on buying this guy, but when I saw him for $150, I said, you know what, I have to get him. The engineering is insane. I know that much. Transform him, I heard, is a nightmare. But, once you get 3 or 4 times in, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. But I do like him. He's really just huge, like Megatron should be, huge. Just the details and everything. Just, wow, look at that thing. Really, really nice. Can you imagine G1 looking like this? But more of a nicer, smoother transformation. I might just, go online and find a video on how to transform him, but like I was told, and like I've seen on so many different posts and so many different conversations about him and transforming him, forget it. It's, never ending. Like, completely never ending. You can get confused, you can accidentally break something on him. That's one thing I don't want happening, so... But otherwise than that, he's a solid figure. Bought him because, one, the guy did tell me that, his instructions were missing. He was tarnished. Bad. Like, I mean, it almost looked like rust. That's how bad the tarnish was. And, it's gone. Okay, now just take a look at that. All right. All that tarnish is gone. Okay. Every piece of metal was tarnished. It was like almost you can just put this in a smoker's room and that's how bad it was tarnished. It was like that brown tar tarnish. It was pretty horrific. So I did some research. Now we all know, you know, we have figures and we go, well, why is it tarnishing so bad? You know, why is it just this die-cast figure from the Takara Hasbro series of the MPs tarnished so bad? I did some research. So we know, and most of us know, I think most of us are intelligent enough to, you know, understand that die-cast is not a metal. It is a process. It is a injected mold that they do, or a mold injection. They use different types, and believe me, I have Wikipedia up just so I can explain that they use, but I went farther. They use a lot of different metals. Now it's lost. Here we go. But what they use is, and this is from Wikipedia exactly, and they say most die castings are made from non-ferrous metals, specifically zinc, copper, aluminum, magnesium, lead, pewter, and tin-based alloys. Depending on the type of metal being casted, a hot or cold chamber machine is used. So I looked up each of the metals. Zinc is most commonly used, but it's usually mixed with something. Either it's mixed with, well, not lead anymore, but probably tin and possibly aluminum, you know. But it's just it's a balance. They have to use a balance to get that die cast proper. So what is the one that tarnishes the most? If you said zinc, you're right, because that's what it is. Zinc is the one that's actually the one that's tarnishing. So somewhere in the process of when they were mixing these metals, something got jammed up in the injection process, or something overshot the dog, shut up. Something happened in the injection process to mold these feet and to mold any of the metal. There was a misbalance of zinc and whatever other metal they decided to use, because the zinc is the one that oxidizes bad. The zinc is the one that's, you know, this is why we're getting this, because we got more zinc in the mold, you know, and so it all depends. Some people might have gotten, you know, a little. Some could have gotten a lot. It all depends where the company, too, was, because, you know, they would have kept an eye on this stuff. Most likely they didn't. You know, if it was done in China, they just keep going, you know, and they just keep molding them. The injection mold opens up, drops the pieces, closes, they shoot more in, let it cool for a little, pull it open, drop them, you know, the process of manufacturing. So that was a little bit of an interest, so a little bit of information for you guys. But the reason why I want to talk about this figure, because I know there's been 1,000 reviews, and I like this figure a lot. It's a really well done figure. The transformation and the tarnishing problem or oxidation problem is the only thing that a lot of people are barking about. So this is what it looks like now. All right, this is what, and I'll even get back here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a picture of the day that I opened it, which was the night after the NJCC. I opened it up to look how bad the tarnish was, because after I did some research, you know, and he showed me he showed me in the place, and then I kind of just, you know, okay, whatever, blah, you know. And what I started to realize was that, okay, this thing is not too bad. But when I got home and really inspected it, this is what it looks like now, okay? Alright, so that's what it looks like now. Alright, now take a look at this picture before and after, and you'll understand why. Okay, so now that you see that, you can understand that the tarnish is bad. So a lot of people say, oh, use turtle wax, use this, use that. Alright, before I started collecting toys again, really big time, like hardcore, before I really started collecting them, I was collecting swords and daggers, like majorly. And then my son was born, so I gave that up. You know, all of them actually went to the crawl space. And believe it or not, all of them are still shiny and beautiful. So what product did I use? Inexpensive stuff. So I'm going to show you my techniques of how I clean this thing up. Now, I tested it even on with a buffing wheel. It's a little messy though. This stuff is safe for plastic because it even tells you on the thing that you can use it for hard plastics and such. This stuff is not going to hurt it. This is the stuff that I used. It's called Metal Glow. Whoops, no wonder why I have it upside down. So this stuff's called Metal Glow, and as you can see, it cleans, polishes, and protects. It removes tarnish and oxidation. And this stuff, you want to make sure you get the professional. I got this at Bud K, where I was buying all of my, wall hangers. They weren't like dangerous knives. They were all fantasy knives. But this, you want to keep it away from kids because they, you don't want them eating it. But it is a purplish kind of cream. I don't know. I'll try squeezing some up, but if you can see that. But it's not abrasive. There's nothing abrasive to it. It's actually very soft, very, 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 very smooth to the fingers. So, I mean, it's not going to at all hurt you in any way. So, it's not, oh no, I got this stuff all over my house. No. Just wipe it off with a rag. It's not that expensive. Bud K, I think, was selling it for like $5. I think it was $5 a tube. So you get 1.7 ounces or 50 grams, 1.7 ounce tube. If you look for Metal Glow, that's all you got to put in, Metal Glow, and then put it in Google and click on shopping. You probably will find it for a lot cheaper. But granted, get it. Trust me, get yourself a tube of this. This stuff is really good. All you have to do is just kind of apply a light coat to it and just wipe it right off. One thing, because of all the details, now I haven't really done it yet, and I don't know if I can get in there, but I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. But if you can see in the corners and stuff, yeah, that's it. Get in the camera. But if you can see in the corners, there's still a little bit of, and you got the molded detail on the metal and such. But this was really freaking bad. Like, I mean, it was really bad. I've gotten it on the plastic. It will not hurt the plastic. I actually even found, when I took it out of the display case to bring it up here to do this little video, there was still stuff, and it was dried up, and all I did was just took the rag and beep, beep, beep. Now, they tell you to use a soft cloth. You could use one of these, but like I said, these are a little abrasive, and you know what? When you have to, with the tarnish, rub, you can actually leave swirl lines. The abrasiveness to this can actually do a little damage, but not, oh my god, I can see it from a mile. No. But forget about that. What I was using was, if you go to Home Depot and you get those blue paper towels, the Workforce ones, those things work great, and they're soft, and they're really thick. So I would use those. And the other thing is, when you get into the creases and into the molded detail, like the foot and everything, don't use these. Please, don't use these. They're cotton. you're just going to create more of a mess. You know, they look like they're tight, but they're not. You're going to leave little tiny hairs, and then you're going to have to go back over it with something else, like a microcloth or whatnot. I mean, you can use a microcloth if you got an extra one, you know? That's the tarnish that came off of that sucker. You know, this was the cloth that I used, and then this started being, you know, I was like, oh, I want to use this for my glasses, so I stopped using this and went to the blue paper towels. Granted, you're going to spend a little bit more money, you know, with this and with the blue paper towels, but if you care about your collection, you're going to care about, you know, the quality of products you even use, because, let's face it, you want these figures to, you know, last for the next and the next generations, or possibly when you get ready to, you'll sell them. Don't use regular Q-tips, alright? Listen to me. Don't use regular Q-tips. Go to if you have your wife or your girlfriend, get them to go, and I'll pause the video, write this down. Get your wife to go to the beauty supply store, or if you're man enough to walk into the beauty aisle, look for these. Okay, the reason why, these come in 2 different heads, and they're much tighter wound. You got the pointy head. They're much tighter. Yeah. Okay, now you're going to make it. Now, there are foam ones, but these do have foam behind them, I think. No, they're all cotton. Now, there are foam ones that you can get, but these have the pointy head, so you can get into those little crevices, like in here, you know, very easy. And you'll be able to, you know, whoop, 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 get in there and put some pressure and get that tarnish out of there using the Metal Glow. So you can use that, and then you also got this rounder. So you got 2 different heads, and it just seems like they're more tighter because, you know, I mean, these are for women to apply, but you know what? Hey, they work. These things are a savior. So again, pause the video. That's what these things are. You know, they are foam ones. The foam ones you're going to pay a lot for. You only get 80 for this. These are, I think, like 5 or 6. So you'll spend maybe, what, 15 bucks for the cleaning supplies just to get this thing, you know, tarnished up. Tarnished free. The suggestion, from my experience of using this stuff, at least coat it, at least clean it with the Metal Glow every year. You know, at least once. Give it a good cleaning. Because it will tarnish again. Alright, when I brought it up, I started to see some reappearance of tarnish. You can't do nothing really about it. I mean, yeah, you can put a clear coat on, but that's... I'm not into that. You know, it's just not a thing for me. I mean, if you're so inclined and you want to take the feet off and send them to a chrome company, you can have them re-chromed. But the nickel is going to chrome. No, I mean the nickel is going to corrode no matter what, or oxidize. You can keep this in the driest, coldest place you got in your house, but let's face it, my basement does have a sump pump. The sump pump's covered, but there's still moisture in there. I have a dehumidifier, but it only takes so much out. It's going to still tarnish. But it's the quality of the die cast that they used, the die casting process. And like I said, this company really didn't care about mixing too much. You know, I'm not saying Takara didn't care. I'm saying that the company that Takara paid to get these die cast pieces made did not balance out they didn't balance out the right mixture. So the nickel was actually corroding quicker. And that sucks. Or they didn't put enough of a corroding agent in there. So, you know, it is what it is. But excellent little figure. I love this guy. He looks great next to MP-10. I don't have an MP-10. I have, you know, the Year of the Horse one. But, you know what? He looks awesome next to him. I don't have this issue because, I mean, I collect Soul Chigokin. Soul Chigokin, they use, you know, top quality, metal. They use top quality everything. Their quality control is very high, much higher than even what Takara does. It's probably, here's Takara, here's Bandai with the Soul Jigoken series. They probably have somebody standing there every 500 or every 100 made. They're dipping something in to test the, quality, or they're taking a small scoop of, or they're taking a figure piece and they're scraping it, whatever, chemical analysis, whatever. And they're doing all their checks to make sure that metal, because I have Soul Jigoken that have been die cast. I mean, yeah, they've been die cast, they've been chromed, but they don't have no paint apps on them. But there's no corroding, there's no tarnishing, nothing. So, yeah, but I mean, the MP series was still in its infancy. This was the 5th one. I mean, what do you expect? As they grew, they probably said, okay, we got to put out a little bit more money because people are complaining about this, that, these, and those. But you hear on the boards that, all these different message boards, that the MP10 doesn't have these problems. But I'm not sure if there's exposed die-cast, But, yeah, I mean, they really needed to, they should have put maybe some kind of primer or coating over top of this. But the nickel is what it is. I mean, unless you're going to sit there with a real expensive jeweler set and knock the pins out and, take all the metal apart and then send it to a company, because I know there is a couple companies that will chrome toys and chrome things for you, and you literally, have these chromed again. Possibly, maybe you might be able to save it, but it's not too much of a big deal. Like I said, I use this. It's just a suggestion I'm giving. If you are happy with your turtle wax or whatever you're using, go, great. But just if you want something, from a knife collector, this I used all my knives, and they've been under my crawl space for, I would say, 8 years now. And I recently was up there doing some work in that crawl space, about maybe, I don't know, about that high. And it's cold and clammy in there. So moisture was getting to these knives and they were exposed, and none of them had any rust or any corrosion whatsoever. And these were your basic wall hangers, your $19, $20, $25 swords and daggers. So, I mean, the processes are different, but I know it's steel compared to die cast, but you never know. Just a little thing, But I know some of the hilts were die cast, and no corrosion whatsoever on any of the swords or daggers. I'm not going up there to go get one to show you, but it's just a little idea. I mean, this stuff I think is great. Just to keep it up to date. I did it with my swords once a year. This is a tube that's been sitting in my thing for 8 years. This other tube, I actually had 2 tubes, and the other tube lasted me for, years before I got rid of that one. And then this one I opened just for this guy. And it worked wonders. And like I said, you can see the difference. And you can see how that gleam and that shine is just polished and beautiful. Because it does all three. It cleans, polishes, and protects. So, heck, why not get one that gets all three? But that's my 2 cents on it. Let's talk toys. Japanophile Rob. Catch you on the flip side.